This was our final week for our AI Vibe Coding Collective, and that was 4 weeks have gone by, and we talked about many things, but we basically tried to bring it all together and focus on consolidating our knowledge that we've learned, our skills that we've learned in regards to AI and vibe coding and resource creation. So it's really interesting to see how far and what our process has been. For me specifically, I decided to continue on with a project that was all around AI readiness. And when we're talking about policy development, strategic planning, and we're looking at consultation for key stakeholders. So I spent quite a bit of time prior to this designing and crafting some surveys. So let me just jump in and I'll just show you real quick what I've been working on. So we understand that we need to do consultation. I've created an AI readiness for principals, deputy principals to get that understanding of leadership regarding AI integration, where we are, all those kind of things. And then I've just generated a parent survey. Now, this is obviously a Google form. This is being crafted using AI to help me align with various frameworks like the ISTE framework for AI integration, things like that, to basically craft the questions to identify the specific needs for our community. I've then gone ahead and put this into AI. So for me, this was in Claude Code, or Claude specifically, not the code version. It generates a ton of code to develop the infrastructure, because at the end of the day, I have basically taken that data set, the feedback, I've given it a very explicit prompt on what I want visualized, what I want this assessment to demonstrate, gone through and analyzed very, very detailed response and breakdown of the specific needs for, this is for the leadership assessment specifically. And if I go down a little bit further, I just like, this is too, word heavy. I want a very easy, accessible version for leaders to quickly identify where they are, where they need to be, what are the priorities of the school, so we can help with strategic planning. I've then taken that information, I'll scroll down a little bit further, and then I'll find the prompt that was basically saying, here it is, generate an interactive web browser with visual mapping, various charts for this AI readiness. It should be interactive. As I said, quickly identify gaps. Now, there was a couple of errors. I basically take those errors and continue the code. And then this is what it's generated. An AI readiness assessment or dashboard. It's identifying critical gaps for me. It is then giving me clear overview of the different areas for the leadership team, any leadership challenges that we're experiencing, implementation, and we can go through different areas. Readiness in regards to leadership knowledge, so what we need to address first, legal, ethical issues, policy, crisis communication, specific areas. And then it goes into the roadmap, the specifics. Now, this is based on the frameworks that I've already implemented. It's given me a clear structure on what we're doing. And this is based on the feedback and the survey that I've generated, because it's very, very structured, because it's very much begin with the end in mind, give context is key, and then iterate as we go. That's why you can see it's going through all these different levels of data set, way more engaging and way more easier to interpret for a leadership team that doesn't have necessarily the skills, time, or expertise to look at heavy amounts of data. So this is just a nice, quick visual, communicate to stakeholders, communicate to people that what we are doing, why we're doing it, and the methods or expected outcomes. Then I've just taken that same concept and I've basically said, well, now as an expert strategist and director of technology, simulate that process by creating a data set of 30 parents for an international school with mixed cultural backgrounds for that questionnaire that I've developed. Then I've done the exact same thing, got it to analyze, create the data set. Basically, we can sort of see that when we go into the artifacts, previous ones, here's the data set that is generated. And then I've created the interactive again. And this time there was a few errors, but I just kept going through the process. And I'll find the final artifact that we're reviewing as just a test, proof of concept, minimum viable product. And here is the readiness assessment based on parent and community feedback. And you can see overall data, and it segments to say what is our understanding of AI, school appropriateness or approach for preferences, guidelines are looking for, disclosure. Now, this is mock data, but it's interesting to see how it's interpreting visual representation and key insights and readiness assessment matrix to say, hey, what's actually happening, and then key areas of critical action. Then I really wanted to make sure that we understood the cultural lenses. So we look at English speakers and it segmented it out. We look at Thai, for example, and Chinese, and it segments out all the special groups and where they're sitting, and then specifically what experience or what program are we looking at as a priority action. So really interesting visual strategic sort of planning document, a communication document, because I can just take this, publish it, share it as a web browser for community, for stakeholders, for parents, for the people who are engaging with trusting our professional judgment into leading them in the future for AI integration for education, and then take away that uncertainty. We don't know what we're doing. We understand we're clear roadmap, and this is why we're doing what we're doing. So that's pretty much it. That is what we've been focusing on in vibe coding, community and collective. It is learning those skills, and it's really cool to see the culmination of 4 weeks coming to these big projects that we are developing to save us time, help us with leadership or teaching or integration in engaging resources. So if you are keen to join the next one, I'm not too sure when we will be running that, but there is a wait list in the comment. You can just put your name on that, and when we are looking at what's next, I'll be sure to let you know what we're going to do, because there's so many different things we can take this to. This is just the beginning. So remember, as I say to all my students, effort equals results. You can see we're actually putting it in. We're trying to build out real resources, real world case examples of using AI to actually make impact in our educational fields. So I hope this is helping some people, but if you are, as I said, if you're keen, add your name to the wait list and we can see you and start vibing together. Other than that, effort equals results. I will see you in the next one.